Like this?
Not in front of your face. Like this.
In your mouth?
I would avoid that because you're going to be sharing it.
Okay, I won't do that. Okay.
It's so tasty.
Check this. You guys are on camera.
Hi.
Okay, so let's talk a latte about
Let's
science.
talk a latte.
So, in all seriousness, I loved earth science.
Okay.
Earth science. Did you like science in school?
Mm-hmm.
So I liked earth science. I like space science.
Oh, I love space.
I didn't love chemistry stuff. So I'm excited for our show today. So maybe it'll spark some excitement there.
I know, like atoms and things like that. I remember just being like
memorizing the periodic table.
solid pass for me. Like, no. Just give me a microscope. I want to look at cool things in the microscope.
Love microscopes.
Yes.
And my older son right now, he's doing in his science class, they're doing earth science, and they get to have a microscope, and he is loving it. I was like, isn't that so fun? He's like, on free time, we can take whatever we want and put it under a microscope. So he's like, I put a piece of hair under a microscope, and it like blew my mind. I was like, I know. It is so fun.
I love every moment of that. And did you know that Jessie actually has a background in botany? Which I think is super neat, like plant science and learning botany. Yes.
That is so cool.
Yeah, isn't that really cool? I think that's an area of science that I would be interested in learning more about.
Yes, definitely.
Well, you guys, are you ready? We are officially live.
We are
Okay,
live.
hi everybody.
Welcome to Plant Therapy and our live, your one-stop shop for natural product news, easy DIYs, and tips for natural living. Let's get started. Up close and personal.
Yeah, we don't have a theme song today. Obviously, it's a little different today.
Yes.
We're going to be doing something super
Katrina,
fun.
what are we doing today?
We are taking a field trip to our 2 labs that we have here at the company, and we're going to spend time with Jessie and Bradley and get to know a little bit more about the equipment we use and how we make sure that our products are safe and effective for you guys.
Yes.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, and I don't know if everyone knows, but we have 2 labs, right?
Yeah.
So we have our analytical lab that we're able to actually test some of our products and gather data about the product, and then we have our R&D lab where we're actually creating the products. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to show you guys and to get to talk to Jessie and Bradley a little bit more. So should we get started?
Definitely. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
field trip.
I'm going to follow you guys.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
People might not be able to hear me, but I don't have much to say today.
So luckily, it's just a quick little walk from the studio.
We're just hop, skip, and a jump away.
That's right. Getting a little tour.
Yeah. Here's our break room. So fancy. Yes.
And let's go on in.
Oh, I love this.
Hey guys, how's it going?
You got your microphone.
I know.
I know.
So
we got
fancy.
microphones today,
Yes.
so we're going to be doing some sharing.
It's funny because I actually did make you a microphone that was like the Price is Right.
Like the Bob Barker microphone?
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm gonna spend all this time on this microphone, and they're not even gonna want to use it. They'll be so pissed. I just know Katrina. Like, I am not using it.
Alrighty guys, today we are here with our chemists. So we have Jessie and Bradley, who you've met before, but we are doing a little bit of a behind the scenes today to just show you our lab space and do some fun experiments together. So what are we getting started with?
Yes, I think we are getting started with a blend. Is that right, Bradley?
Yep, we're going to do some blending here.
Okay, so let's explain what we got going on here,
Okay.
what's in the vial or the beakers, and what this fun machine is. I'm just going to pass this off to you.
So I've kind of divvied these up by their top notes, mid notes, and base notes, just so you can kind of like, yeah. And I mean, this is kind of how we do like development with blends. We kind of just divvy them up based on like how they're expressed, really. And so, just for example, we'll just pour this one in here.
So we don't. Is that our base note?
Yes, this is the base notes.
And
And
we're.
then-
Do we know what these are, or does it matter what these different scents are?
Let's just say this is like a nice little clovey blend. And then this one's very like minty. And then I don't remember what this one is. What do you think?
Medicinal. Very medicinal.
Like
Yeah,
it.
feeling it.
Perfect.
Eucalyptus-y stuff.
Yeah.
So when you guys are making a blend, you decide on the top notes, base note, middle notes, and this is the machine. This is the type of machine you use to mix them up.
Yes, this is our. It's just a stir bar. It's very standard in a lab to have a hot plate with a stir bar mixer. So it's definitely not specialized to essential oil blending, but it's what we use.
Can you explain what you just dropped in here?
So this is a magnetic bar, and there's a magnet pad in here, and when it rotates, it like kind of locks onto it, and it spins with it. So
Very
this
cool.
is
And
what
you
it
said
is.
this is also a hot pad?
Yes, so we can also heat up product with this, like oils and butters and waxes when we're making like lotions and balms and creams and whatnot. And so we let this mix for a little while, kind of gets all the constituents combined. I'm making up words now. Combined.
Totally. You're a scientist. You can say stuff.
I can do that, right? Just got to back it up.
When we're blending in this way, what do you think, how long do you think we should be mixing like this to get a good feel for what the blend will smell and look like?
So Lori typically tells us like 20 minutes for the blends that she makes, and really it depends on the molecular weight of the oils that we're blending together. So if they're really light and like they kind of have the same molecular weights, we can kind of combine them together more rapidly. Like we probably only need a little bit of time. With stuff that's like resiny, like copaiba oleoresin, that one takes a while to really get mixed up. Yeah.
We are getting some comments saying that it's hard to hear. So,
Check 1, 2.
yeah, can you guys let us know if you can hear us okay? Is it just Danny that you guys are having a hard time hearing, or is it everyone?
Yeah, if you're having a hard time hearing people who aren't mic'd, don't have the mic, let us know, because we can just make sure that everybody's using the mics. Otherwise, let us know if even the mic people are hard to
Vicky
hear.
says we can hear you all. Jamie says just can't hear Danny. So,
Oh, that's fine.
yep. So
Okay.
I'll stop asking.
carry on.
Yeah, no, but so yeah, I mean, for this blend, since there's a lot of really heady notes in it, it doesn't really need that long to stir before you can really get the profile of it.
So I will ask a couple of questions, and then I'll just have you repeat them if you can't hear me. So Jesse, or not Jesse, sorry, Bradley, and Katrina, why do we blend them like this? A customer at home isn't going to have a machine like this. Do they have to have a machine like this to be able to blend together their oils, or why do we use a machine like this in the lab?
So when you make a blend right off the gate, I mean, it's going to take a little bit for all the oils to really incorporate. So if you make a blend at home and you smell it right away, and then a week later it smells a little different, it's because it's going through this process. It's mixing, and so at home, if you don't have something like this, it just takes a little bit. You would let the oils kind of sit down and settle to really understand what the profile is going to be. So this just helps us speed up that process so that we're not having to spend such a long time just waiting for the oils to naturally blend together.
So, some people are saying that the microphones are spotty, so let's try and hold them close, I guess. I don't know, but I'll let you guys know. Just keep us in the loop if you guys are still having a hard time hearing, if we just keep the microphones really close to our faces.
Yep, this is our first time with these kind of microphones.
Mama Jamma.
That's right. So Bradley, what are we going to do with this blend today? Where are we making it?
Yes, the microphone. So we are going to trick Jesse a little bit, and we're going to give him this blend and then another blend and see if he can guess which one is which without smelling it. And then we're gonna go back into the lab and show you guys a really cool experiment after that too. So.
Yeah, so after this, we're going to do some experiments with Jesse, and then we're going to go into Bradley's lab, and that's going to be a lot of fun, too.
All right, are we ready? So we're going, Jesse. We want to talk with you and Emilee. Are you guys?
Yeah.
Do you have any other things? to talk with you two about. Sorry. About.
I was like, why are you so close to me?
What are some of the pieces of equipment you use in here? So take it away, you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So today, specifically, we're going to be looking at our FTIR, which is a really handy instrument for identifying certain materials, right? With essential oils, we're just going to be looking at a profile that is we obtain by basically putting a laser through the material that's infrared, so it can go through solids and things that are opaque, not just transparent. And we should get a profile of what frequencies of light are absorbed and reflected. And so we can I'd start identifying things.
Perfect. That was.
Does it all sound a little magical? I think.
Come on over here. And
I think once we
Yes.
see what Jesse. So Jesse tried to explain this to me once. I didn't get it until I saw it.
Yeah, I think you do have to see it and then see the results that come out on the other side in order for it to really like click and make sense. So we're starting with some orange peel?
We're going to start with, we're going to start with some citrus. We can do lemon and orange, and we'll just see, because they are pretty similar in composition, but there are some subtle differences that we can pick up, and that will be part of what we show you. So I'm going to need to get the instrument going, and it will stabilize to the background, and then we'll be able to start testing things.
Perfect.
This is the monitor you'll be able to see. So we have this going, so it says clean the crystal. And so what it's doing right now is just taking background measurements. What does the environment look like to the instrument? And that way it won't incorporate that into our results.
Is Emilee doing a jig? Probably. She's
Yeah.
usually doing a jig. So
Usually.
that could impact the background.
Absolutely can and does. So let's just put some things on here, and we can get the profile on this screen, and so you guys can see what each one looks like.
What are we going to start with?
Let's start with water, just so you can see that water does have a profile. So, yeah. So Emily is going to drop a little bit of water onto the crystal lens, and then the laser will be passing through the sample.
It's stressful.
Yeah. All right, so she has the water on the lens, and now if you look at the screen here, you can see that the baseline, in fact, does show a profile for water. It's very simple because it's a very simple molecule, right? So if she wipes that off, you'll see the profile go away, and then we can go to something else.
So the dips and the rises, what do those mean?
Those are, so if you can get real close here, you can see numbers all along the bottom. And those are correlated with a wavelength number, right? And so when you have something on a certain wavelength, that's being absorbed with this particular version of the test. If we were doing reflectance or transmittance, it would look different.
Okay.
We're doing absorption because that's an easy way to start, and there's a lot of data to reference with that particular test. So now even if I'll put you places, Danny, so you can get a good eye on this, let's have Emilee do lemon.
Okay, so really quickly I'm going to
So
see how you do your lemon.
the trick, you want to hold it way above the lens and just squeeze it so the oil spurts out. Other side. There you go.
Oh, my. Did you guys see that?
Yep. Oh, you need a little more. Try again. Target practice.
I've got it on my fingers.
Yeah, my fingers were so orange this morning because I was playing around with all of it. Okay, it looks like you got it. All right, so there's our profile. And now the way I've got this set up is we can run it, and it's going to scan the sample 120 times, and so we can get a really good feel of where those peaks are at. And it takes a little bit of time, but not very long, much less time than a GC.
Yeah, 100 times. It's checking this sample 100 times. And from that, we are going to be able to tell what chemical this might be.
All right, so here's our results, and it does have a percent match. So in this one, we did get a little different profile than the other lemon peel oil, but it is lemon peel oil. It matched it. So and then we can look at other results too. If we go down to orange peel, you notice it's a little different. So mainly right in this region. Watch close.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is a mandarin.
So would these, are these constituents? Are those constituents that we're seeing, or what are they just, that's just, yeah, I'm not sure.
No, that's a great question. So if you come a little more here so you can get the full-on shot here. So this side of it right here is associated with structure. So that's where you can see if there's a single ring, a double ring, if it has, certain like long chain kind of materials in it. And then when you get towards this side, it turns into functional groups. So this will show you which functional groups you can find on the outside of your compounds. So this is kind of like the fingerprint region, and then this is where you can see how active those functional groups are. So with this one, if we go back to the orange peel, where there's missing peaks here for orange peel versus lemon, that means that there's something that's in the lemon that's not in the orange. And in this case, it's probably both the alpha-pinene and gamma-terpenine that you find in lemon oil versus orange oil, which is almost entirely limonene.
All right. Very cool.
Jesse, what does the quality number mean?
That is how closely we've matched oils to other samples in the past. So when you're squeezing these oils out, and the next one you're going to do is going to be orange, because this one's tricky. Because when you squeeze it out, you get a little bit of different materials than a refined finished product from a manufacturer or from a distillery or wherever the material's coming from. So with citrus, there's a lot of wax and water that gets included. So let's clean this up, and we'll get going on the next sample.
All right.
Should I spray this down?
Are you seeing
So
any questions?
just a little bit of water.
Just a
'cause
lot
there's
of
little
really
bit of
positive feedback from
sugary
everybody,
stuff in
really
there.
enjoying what we're showing them.
Give it a little spritz. Little spritz.
Technical terms, people.
Absolutely technical.
Orange?
Yes. So we got big sweet orange here. So this one's tricky because you have to squeeze it kind of high up. If you squeeze too hard, water and wax come out, and it misses the oil profile. So no stress, no pressure.
I got this, Emily. You got it.
No, it's target practice, you guys.
So,
I splattered the counter earlier today trying to get it right on the lens.
so we're going to show.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. You got it. See, it just needed a woman's touch.
I love how instantaneous it is once you get the material on the lens. Oh, yeah. I like how quickly you're able to see the profile once it gets on the lens. I think we're all kind of familiar with GCMS machines and how they do their thing, but how long does a GCMS test take versus this?
So the GC test, we have a method that we're running right now that's around an hour to get results, which is pretty standard for a lot of tests. There are some that are shorter, and there's some that are longer, and there's a reason you do that, but that's for another show. All right, so here's your results. She did a great job.
No water or wax.
No water or wax there. So if you remember the water profile, it had a little lump right here that was like this and not a real distinct peak. So you can see a little contribution, but not much at all. So that was a really good squeeze.
I am very proud of you, Emily.
Thank you, sir. I work out. That's fine.
Yeah, so I think that's that, and I guess we can clean up, and then we can get ready for this game that they have for me.
Perfect. So, any questions real quick while we're waiting for... I do have one question, Jesse. So, sorry. So, we've done this with single oils. So you are saying that we can use this test on a compounded blend or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's a single or a blend, they all have a mix of constituents. And that mix of constituents is what determines the height of the peaks that you see in this profile. So in theory, I'll load a different method that's not for orange peel, and we will run a test, and we will see if I can match it to the blends that they have made for me. See if we can get a good result, huh?
Perfect. All right. So you guys have...
We have,
blends, right?
that's right. We're going to try and trick him.
All right.
Going to see if he can figure it out.
I'm sweaty. Like, this makes me a little stressed. But Jesse's like, I got this. Stand back, Em. That's what you pay me for. It's fine.
This is where we need the music.
The Bonanza music, the Bonanza theme song. Why not?
What are we doing currently?
It's collecting background again. So now we have our environment, and we'll do sample 1 here.
Sample 1.
So I'm just going to put in a simple S1, so simple S1 label so I can keep track of it.
Oh, these smell nice, guys.
Smell nice.
Very good.
Putting that on, and we're going to watch the profile. Okay, so there's our profile. Beautiful. Okay, So this one is sampling like the other orange peel test, where it is 120 sample scans, and we will see where the peaks come out on average, and then I'll run the other one. However, usually with one test, you can figure out if it's the one you want or not. So if you guys had like 10 samples, it'd be more of a challenge. Not bragging.
Just a wee bit more.
Okay, so this says it's rapid relief and 97.6% match. So let's look at this. So when you do this, because mathematically you can get a really good match, but you have to check this to make sure that the profile is in fact there without any other peaks. So here's some other blends. Here's Germ Fighter, right?
Pretty close.
Pretty close, but there's some extraneous peaks here that aren't present in the other one, right? So that's how you can tell the difference between the two. There. Germ Fighter is probably the closest. Here's just cinnamon leaf. Yeah. So let's do the other one real quick. But I need to clean up. So,
Okay.
or Emilee's on it. She can clean. She can squeeze.
We should call her the squeezer.
Your official title? Director no more?
Squeeze.
You know, my maiden name is Butcher, so just watch out.
My goodness.
Watch out, peeps.
Well, my maiden name is... What is your maiden name? It is Softy.
All right. So here is sample number 2.
Okay, so as he does that, we're going to watch these peaks.
This is where you need theme music.
Beady beady beep.
Yeah.
Beady beady beep. Beady beady beep. Beady beady beep. Why beady beep? I don't know. Beady beep beep. Beady beady beep beep beep.
So talented, Danny.
Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. Bum bum.
Wait, no, that's the wrong thing. Yep.
That sounds like a funky elevator.
All right. Here we are. So 96.1 on tension relief. There we go. Beautiful match on that profile. You see some slight differences here, just like in amplitude, but that is because every batch is a little different, right? Just slightly, though.
That's what blows my mind. Is I know how. I know that we have oils change from. Sorry, I know we have oils change from batch to batch because of a growth year or whatever it is that changes the batch. So that surprises me that it's that close. We don't. What's that called when you mix a bunch of different batches together to standardize? We don't standardize our oils. So that just I'm really impressed that it's so close. Oh, crazies! All right.
So the big reveal.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Bradley, take it away.
so you guessed both of them correctly. You and your wonderful computer over here.
And Emilee.
And without,
But-
without her help.
But
did
the
all
one,
the hard work.
the one that we mixed up today was tension relief.
Nice.
So yeah,
Oh, so that the tension relief that we just tested was that?
that was what we did today.
Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Bradley, I think we're ready for you guys to take us over to Lab Bradley. That's what we should call these.
It
Lab
should.
Bradley. All right. So thank you guys. Are you
Great.
coming with us, or are you going to meet us back in this?
We will come with you.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, we're following you guys.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, sure.
You're right there. Oh my.
All right, Lab Bradley.
Okay, welcome to my humble abode. You've all been here before, but welcome again. Okay, so let's see. Today we are going to take this tension relief blend and make a really cool hydrogel for you guys. So what I have in here, the inky name of it is carbomer. It is a acidic polymer that when neutralized, it becomes a hydrogel.
Is that water mixed? Oh, sorry. Is that water mixed with something, or is that just what you just called it?
So the actual polymer comes as a powder, and we disperse it into water, and after about 30 minutes of hydration time, the polymer absorbs enough water to be dispersible, and it can be mixed. And so now this is a semi-homogeneous solution of polymer and water. I also added some preservative because we preserve everything. Never go without a preservative. And we're going to see what our oil does to this once it's fully polymerized.
Bradley, can you talk a little bit about this machine, what it's called, and what its function really is?
Yeah, so this is an overhead mixer, pretty standard to our industry. It reads out in RPMs, and we can set it for time. We pretty much use it to make small-scale batches. The usefulness of this is that it's directly scalable to our production areas and our mixing. So yeah, let's get started. So in order to neutralize a polymeric acid, we need to use a very strong base. I choose sodium hydroxide because it's not a secondary amine. It's just a very common chemical that doesn't pose any safety hazards. I mean, unless you get it on your skin. But if you're working with sodium hydroxide at home, definitely wear gloves. I've just done this like for many years, so this is very common for me.
And you said this neutralizes. What is that? What do you? Oh my gosh! That was
Isn't that incredible?
So what just happened there?
Magic.
Magic happened, Danny.
So, in layman's terms, the polymer came together. So, with the addition of a base, the acid in the polymer creates bonds between the other polymer molecules, and it creates a hydrogel.
So it went from like a murky. What was the texture of the other stuff that was in there? Was it as much of a gel as this is? This looks almost like a aloe gel.
Yep, it's the same rheology as an aloe gel or a hand sanitizer, or like an after sun gel, something similar to that. But yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Like before you added this base, it had a different. It looked different.
Yeah.
As soon as you added the base, it became clear and looked more like an aloe gel.
Mhm.
What
So
did you?
was it water thin before?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was water thin before. I can show you an example of a polymer that has been pre-dispersed. Looks like
It
this.
looks like milky almost. So it's not. Yeah, that is incredible. That was so cool. How it just like got all clear and jelly-like. Now, if you mix that too much or too long, does it become water again? Or
So
watery?
there definitely are some manufacturing hurdles when working with gels like this. You have to be very careful not to overmix. It can tear the polymer apart and you lose viscosity. So this is definitely not a DIY type product. You could not do this at home without proper training. And so like these polymers are sensitive, but they're not sensitive. You just got to know exactly how to work with them and the chemistry behind them. So
This is just that much. This is not a DIY lab.
correct.
We are
Correct.
doing stuff that can be built on a mass level so that it can be
Scalable and fully dispersible to our customers.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot today too, guys. So
I love that Rachel's saying my favorite is that the captions on the screen can't even get the words he is saying.
I might be stumbling over my words. I had a lot of coffee this morning, so
I think you're just using big words that the
okay, we'll go with that.
doesn't understand.
And so I want to show you guys another reason why this really can't be scaled into a DIY type product. So I'm just going to add a random amount of essential oil. I'm not even going to look at it. I mean, generally, okay, I'm going to look at it because I love numbers. But this is probably like, this is probably going to be like a 3% dilution into this gel. And I want you guys to look and see what it does to it.
Getting a little murky,
Mm-hmm.
a little cloudy.
Yeah, so the thing about dispersing any kind of oil into a water solution, you have to use a surfactant or a type of emulsifier. Emulsifiers are surfactants, so a surfactant, emulsifier of some kind to really bring that oil into solution, or you get this separating type dispersion, which over time, if you guys want to come over here, I did a little experiment to kind of prove this theory. I don't know if you can see this very well, but this is an example of dispersed. No, this is, it looks like you don't want it, but if you look very, very closely, and I don't know how close this lens can look, you can just see that the oil is just barely dispersed in there.
Okay.
It's like very, very tiny oil droplets. It's not like completely homogeneous in solution. So this is an oil that has been solubilized. And if you look closely, you can kind of see it looks more murky, but the oil is in solution. So this will be more stable over time. And we were kind of talking about doing this now. In maybe like a couple weeks, we can come back and look and see just how stable this is versus this. We can do like some stability tests and see like what kind of separation we get and how that might potentially look without using the right ingredients.
Very cool. So, all right. Are we ready to move into the, let's go back into the studio, guys, and talk a little about what just happened and answer some questions.
Yeah, that's broken.
Yeah, dude, that is crazy. So if you would have, so the proper way to do this would it be to add the amount of the blend that works with the
Yeah, and just finding that balance between emulsifier, solvent, and whatever you're trying to disperse, whether it's an oil or another solvent.
I was trying to use the words that these guys have been using, like these big words. They didn't come out very naturally. All right. My Irish mouth just couldn't pronounce them. Let's head back to the studio.
All right.
I'll see if I can beat you guys.
It's not a race.
Do it safe.
It's totally a race.
It's always a race.
Don't run in the pool. All right, guys. Let's answer some questions. Oh, yeah. So, Katrina, let's just sit wherever you
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, slippery. All right, guys. So,
Okay, so let's check some questions here.
And if we hit this,
Let's see. If you guys have any questions about what we just went over or any of the equipment, just let us know while we're sitting here with you all.
Can you talk a little bit more about just the importance of using the correct ingredients when you're creating a finished product, and maybe some safety tips? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it is 100% crucial to use the right ingredients when you're formulating. You have to understand that not every ingredient is compatible with each other. And so really what my job is to create mixes of ingredients that will be stable. And so predicting thermodynamic reactivity, like how is something going to come apart over time, and really putting in the work to research everything that we use and everything that we do. As far as safety goes, I sometimes break the rules. Like, I didn't wear gloves when I worked with sodium hydroxide. Never do that. Don't do as I say, not as I do. But I feel like there's just a level of comfort that goes into this lab work where if you are very comfortable with a certain chemical or reagent, that you can kind of get away with being a little less safe. But definitely at home, do not skip safety, because I mean that's at home, and I mean, not to patronize anybody, but I mean there is a certain level of expertise that goes into this. So
I think the same thing goes with even just using essential oils.
So Danny's saying that the same is true with essential oils, right? It does come down a lot to safety. I think of like a lime, which is an incredibly phototoxic oil. So if you're not diluting it properly, that's going to cause some pretty severe skin reactions. So definitely, I think you nailed it, Danny, when you said, yeah, it's not just finished goods, it's essential oils, it's, anything like that.
anything that has an SDS. I mean that's kind of how I think about it. If someone can give you an SDS for an ingredient or anything, a safety data sheet, they're very common in like all industries. So I mean, like in the food industry, you get SDSs. I mean, at the YMCA, they have SDS books for the chemicals they use. They're everywhere. And so if there's an SDS for it, be careful, read it, and know what you're doing.
We have a great question coming in. Is it possible to add too much oil to the unscented aloe jelly then?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is. I haven't experimented that with my personally, but there definitely is a threshold, and finding that threshold could be kind of difficult. I mean, just mixing it in. You would definitely want to follow aromatherapy rules and dilute it to a point where it's safe to be on your skin.
Mm-hmm. Even though it is formulated to be able to incorporate those essential oils, we just want to make sure that customers are following our dilution guidelines. Usually I think we have like a 2 to 3% for a lot of our blends and oils. You wouldn't want to go past what's recommended, not only for safety reasons, but also just because if you add it into a certain formula, it just might not work like we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to follow those directions, and that's why we give them too. We spend a lot of time making sure that they're safe and effective.
Well put.
Whoop, whoop.
I love when you talk like that.
I just want to know how do the two labs work together? So we saw kind of an example of what could be, but how do you guys work together?
So on my side of things, what I'm trying to do is figure out how we can measure anything that's coming through, whether that be ingredients or blends that we're putting together or something like that. And so I can help inform how things have changed, if there's a change, or if the raw ingredients are different than we've seen in the past. Like I say, some products are really stable, like Palmarosa is almost always exactly the same, but things like sandalwood or ylang have really complex profiles that change a lot. So we can kind of identify where problems are because of that. And then just help inform some of the process if they're looking at replicating parts of a formula or something. That's something I can break down with instrumentation and hand off information for them to then formulate with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so an example of this, we were testing a surfactant together, and I was getting kind of some mixed information from suppliers and industry sources, and I was like, look, I just want to confirm 100% what is this ingredient. And we had like, 90-something% match to an ingredient that was already in our warehouse. And so then, that's just one example of how we work together. A lot of like questions on my end, and then Jesse validates, and then Jesse has questions, and he'll come to me, and I'll come to him with questions. We just bounce ideas off each other until we get the right answer.
Another question. Why is it so important? Why is it so important for plant therapy? Why do we feel it's so important to provide accurate, consistent products? Like, we obviously are pretty open with our customers that because we don't standardize, our oils have different profiles when we get in a new batch. Why do we want to provide as much of a standard using these systems we just learned about? Yeah, does that make sense?
Plant therapy is all about customer experience and integrity. So when it comes to our products, we always think of our customers first. As we think about our customers, we want to ensure that you guys have the data that you need in order to make educated decisions. And we also want to operate in a way that, if we were our customers, we would be proud of operating to that standard. So for us, I think it comes down to just providing the best customer experience possible and operating with absolute integrity.
All right. Any other questions from our customers?
Katie just says the two departments really complement each other and work together simultaneously. I love seeing how especially these three work together. I think it's a really great team cohesion, and it's really awesome to see product development, research and development, and the analytical lab come together to create these really awesome end products for our customers that we know you guys will love. So it's just really awesome to see the harmony between these three departments.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys watching and tuning in today.
Yes.
Let us know if you have any other suggestions of things you'd like to see from our R&D department.
Yes, so we will be doing science days, fairly regularly. It's something that we want to continue. So if you guys have any ideas of what you would like to see from Bradley and Jesse, we want to know because we want to give it to you guys. So definitely let us know any feedback that you have, and we're happy to dive into that. I think at a later date, we're going to dive into the GCMS, which is going to be super exciting. As a person who thought that the GCMS was a magic box, Jesse has taught me otherwise, that there's actually science behind it, and you don't just press a button and it spits out results. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun, but we definitely want to know from you guys. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, definitely if you have any questions about aromatherapy, about the essential oils that we're using and the testing that everything goes through, just always let us know and reach out. We really prioritize your guys' questions and comments, so please just reach out and let us know what you want to learn about and see.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining. We love having you. Be sure to join us next week as we have some really fun micro lives planned, and follow up on Friday for our next live. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this content. And if you listen to us on the podcast, we'll be keeping these two gentlemen around to talk a little bit about aromatherapy and how we all got into it. So thank you guys for coming. Happy Friday and happy plantings.